Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, where we focus on faith, fiction, and folklore. We also call this podcast the Try F Podcast, and we try not to screw the podcast up. Turtle Chief, how are you this evening?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm pretty good. So, we've had some storms of late.
Pretty gnarly storms.
Yeah, and
Prayers for all those that are going through it.
right. The response in the Appalachian Mountains has been absolutely abysmal, and that has sparked a conversation about whether there's been some weather direction, like these hurricanes were steered towards those areas, so they couldn't vote for Trump. So we've been looking a little bit into weather modification this week, see what we could pull up. And I was wondering if you had any thoughts or anything that came to your mind, because we'll start there, I suppose.
Yeah, that's there's a lot. There's a lot to it. I've been kind of watching videos and listening to different people and trying to just stay level-headed about it, because it seems like these hurricanes were pointed directly at specific areas for motives.
Yeah. Well,
instead of just being your normal natural disasters.
Yeah. What's frustrating to me is when I first started looking into this conspiracy stuff, I was writing a book, and I didn't actually take it all that seriously. It was just kind of something I was wanting to tie conspiracy theories and monsters together in the same series. So that led me to Alex Jones. And it was entertaining. I didn't share the same amount of contempt that people had for him at the time. I thought he was humorous, but I didn't take him seriously. And then the Epstein Island thing happened. And all of a sudden I started taking him very seriously. And over and over again, he has, as they say, been proven right. You know, the saying, Alex Jones is always right. Or Alex Jones was right. I wish somebody would make a meme. I'm not a meme maker. I wish I knew how to do it. But I wish somebody would make a meme where you had Randy Marsh screaming in that famous South Park episode about global warming, where all the South Park people are screaming, "We didn't listen." I just want Alex Jones somewhere in the background and gay frogs hopping all over the place. So, and it's kind of stunk, because every horrible scenario that I was like, that can't possibly be true, ends up becoming pertinent, especially as the election draws near. And this weather thing was like one of the last harbingers of things that I was like, that can't be. That cannot be right. It's like one of the final things up there with flat Earth that I'm like, no. And then sure enough, I'm now asking questions. So I feel like it's yet again, I feel my worldview being uprooted. So What do you think?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people would say Alex Jones is a huge conspiracy theorist, and it's like, you've said before that you don't like conspiracy theorists, like the term.
Right.
And I don't really listen to much of Alex Jones myself, but I've just been watching the storms, and it just seems odd.
Yeah.
The direction that they've been going. And so I've been asking questions, and mostly just kind of watching on YouTube. And I follow this guy named Cap Chatfield, and he reacts to this stuff. So I was hoping to play a video for you about it.
Okay. Yeah. Then after that, we got a Alex Jones video I wanted to watch as well, so we can get into that. We'll just react, because we're delving into new territory yet again. And I should probably clarify, I don't like the term conspiracy theory, which we've talked about that before. I think that's why the third F in our podcast is folklore, because I think that's kind of how I classify this, as just folklore, things that you hear over and over again. You don't know where they come from, and you kind of ignore them, but unfortunately in this case it turns out to be true. And a lot of this stuff is turning out to be true.
They come from Antarctica.
They come from Antarctica. Oh gosh, I've heard that one too. That there's like secret bases in Antarctica.
Well, I mean, I've done this personally. If you go on Google Maps and try and look up stuff in Antarctica,
Yeah.
you won't find anything. There's nothing down there according to Google Maps.
Right.
But then you get on YouTube and find videos of scientists working in Antarctica. And it's like, okay, I've tried to look up these science labs that they're talking about, and I can't find them on Google Maps.
Yeah.
But I've tried. And so it's like they're not doing anything crazy. They're
Right.
they're just watching the local penguins or whatever, and they're not even there.
Well,
And I'm like, okay, well, what are they hiding? Why would they hide this?
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's hard to
Anyways.
imagine that they're spending billions of dollars, or however much they're spending in Antarctica, just to watch penguins. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to utilize that land somehow. But this
Yeah.
is the crazy thing. If this weather manipulation thing is right, and I watched this Alex Jones video a little bit ahead, trying to understand it. If these guys are right, I mean, this is how you would terraform a planet.
Yeah,
I mean, corralling moisture into specific areas, shooting lasers to break up ions so water will condense around them, various salts being injected into the atmosphere. I mean, this is the stuff you would do to change a planet. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for these dad blame government people wanting to control everything, we'd be in Mars already, apparently. I mean, it's just kind of wild. So
It's wild.
I don't know. So let's pull up this video you mentioned. So what'd you say this guy's name was? Hang on a minute.
Cat Chatfield.
Cat
He
Chat.
does a lot of reaction stuff to what's going on, kind of like what we're talking about.
All right. Well, let's see what he has to say. Here we go.
If you thought the government's response to Hurricane Helene was already pretty bad, this is going to put the nail in the coffin. I'm going to share with you a couple of clips from the Sean Ryan show. He interviewed a guy, his name is Jonathan Howard, who is actually part of aerial recovery. They went and they were going and saving people out in western North Carolina and I think eastern Tennessee. And the things that they're going to share with you about how little the federal government actually did and actually what they did to kind of stop their efforts is going to shock you. And I got a couple of clips that I'll share with that. So important, especially as we consider this election cycle and who we're voting for. Do we want to vote for people who are not active on scene, who are not there to take care of American citizens that are paying taxes? You're going to be shocked to hear what they say in this clip. But I also want you to stick to the end, because I have another clip regarding Hurricane Milton, which is going to show you that despite the incompetency of the people who are in the federal government, the people in these high offices, God is still on the throne, and God is doing so much and is worthy of our trust beyond our trust in these people, obviously. So check this out. This is first thing is going to be a social media clip of this guy, Jonathan Howard, that really kind of made him go viral in the first place regarding the Hurricane Helene situation. Check this out.
So what is
Yeah. I really don't want to make this video, but it is literally a matter of life.
Okay, so we discussed before we had technical issues that this has been happening a lot. What this man's about to communicate has been happening a lot. There have been private individuals flying their own helicopters around those mountains saving people. But the government has, or the local law enforcement has been preventing them from helping. They've been threatening them basically.
Yeah.
And what we were discussing earlier is it seems baffling to me that the government would be so overt in their hostility or their unwillingness to help. And this whole dramatic ability, like this dramatic performance of not helping people, this standing down, has kind of prompted this whole weather control conversation in the first place. It probably wouldn't have happened if they hadn't been so obvious about the fact that they're unwilling to help these people. So, Trevor, do you have any thoughts?
And yeah, it's it's crazy. They're it's crazy how it seems like they're pointed like in a certain direction, certain spots, and these people, they just want to help, and they're not getting any government help. They're having to help each other.
Right, and the going theory is that they're doing this to basically make sure the reconstruction isn't completed by the time of the election. But what we were talking about before is that there's this kind of recoil effect. If people see the government, this administration, unwilling to help people, well, they're going to be less likely to vote. So what exactly is the end game? For everybody that they prevent from going to the polls in this state, you're going to have 10 people go, well, I don't want any part of this government. And while the people on the other side of the aisle might not be willing to vote for their opposition, they might stay home. So this seems like a play that's going to have diminishing returns.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually kind of talks about that later. Is that the government is they're not helping, and it's really pushing the extremes that they seem to want to go stop people from voting either way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's odd. It's,
Short-sighted,
lost-
perhaps.
I lost my train of thought.
That's all right. We'll go on. That's all right.
Life and death for the people of North Carolina. So, my name's Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which was great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news, and these politicians don't have a fucking clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government help with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now And they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down at Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is. I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad. I should also say,
well, that's the greatest tell. Excuse me, I have my microphone low. That's the greatest tell.
Really?
They don't want the media to play those emotional heartstrings. They want to keep this whole thing quiet. But they have to know we're in the age of the internet. Like, they have to know that there's no way that this is going to stay hidden between Twitter, Facebook, everything else.
Yeah.
These people have no concept of the way media works anymore. Maybe that's why they're doing it. Maybe they think they can keep it secret. But that seems baffling to me, given how badly they failed to keep Biden's condition a secret.
Right.
So it's just...
And, you know, I looked into it a little more and started searching. There's many, many videos on YouTube, just YouTube alone, of other guys who fly helicopters and other rescue teams and just people like you and me that want to help over there. And they're trying to get to these people who are stranded and just give them some water. And
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. And I found many, many videos like local churches are having to interact and become the ground zeros for churches all over the country sending in supplies and stuff. And there's one church that is over there recording stuff. Their whole church has become a supply drop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get the news out to the locals. Hey, come to our church. We'll give you water. We'll give you shelter. We'll give you what you need until you can get back up and running.
Right.
And they're taking all the supplies because, you know, other people around the country are trying to send in supplies, but they're being turned away. And it's ridiculous. And you got guys in helicopters trying to help, you know, they're literally flying down rivers and stuff to find stranded people. And they're just local YouTubers trying to help.
Yeah. What kind of a Machiavellian piece of garbage do you have to be in this local law enforcement and deny people the ability to help?
Yeah.
To go, this is my site. This is my site. You got to get out of here.
Well, they're being told to do that.
Yeah, they're obviously being told. I cannot fathom the kind of person that would listen to those orders. I mean, is everybody just that scared to keep, you know, they just want to keep their job. They just want to keep things the way they are. Forget all these people that are dying.
Well, there's
you know?
there's other sheriffs that are saying, screw you, and letting in the people.
That's good.
So it's kind of a mix and match type deal.
Yeah.
But those you don't really hear about.
Well,
You hear about all the ones that are blocking people. And there are a few sheriffs that are not blocking people. And there's a couple videos that I found. I forgot to save them, but they're crazy. And they're in a whole world of hurt over there.
yeah. Well, it's just, I just don't understand how a job can be that important to let people die.
Yeah.
And honestly, what's the government going to do? I mean, say you say no. I mean, what's the government going to do? Oh, we're going to fire you because you didn't go stop people from saving individuals. I'm sure that would be a PR nightmare. So the threats from the government are just, bulldogs with paper teeth anyway.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything. So I wish these people would put that together, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on.
That's why
When I flew here on Sunday,
hold on, I gotta pause that. That's why I hate the mainstream media so much, man. So much. Mainstream media is just, it's dead. It's so obvious. I have so many videos on it. I'll continue to put out videos just exposing how the mainstream media operates. It's just a propaganda machine. They're not interested in telling the news. There might be a few people in those organizations that are genuinely there, but it's not enough to stop the machine. These organizations have no interest in sharing unbiased, objective information. They are trying to, most of them are working directly with the Democratic Party to make them look good.
Well, that's the other thing, too, like what we mentioned before. They don't realize the internet exists. They will not admit that... Excuse me, my microphone was low again. They will not admit that people have access to information in a way they didn't have 30 years ago. And so they think they can pull this propaganda stuff off. Still. And they don't understand that there's people posting content constantly. Footage of these disasters is going out all over the internet at a rate that they can't even begin to understand. So,
it's kind of
sorry, go on.
personally why they want, think about it. They're wanting to get rid of TikTok, and most of the content right now, but you or I, we would never know about this. What's going on?
20 years
Unless
ago
we had-
now. 20 years ago
unless we-
now.
Unless we had TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, we'd have never even really known about it. We'd have just been like, oh, there's a bad hurricane and flooding. I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we would have only got to see what the mainstream media was showing us.
I wonder if they hope they can put the genie back in the bottle. Maybe they think they can shut all this down somehow. I wonder if that's what's going on, because it's just, you would think in this day and age, their goal would be to restore their credibility. Their goal would be to report the truth and throw the Democrats under the bus. I mean, it's obvious, unless there is certain election anomalies that we cannot discuss. It's very clear these guys are they're not winning right now.
No.
And so you would think that seeing that these guys are behind, they would feel an impulse to, they would leave the sinking ship, as it were, and they would try to, push back against the party to reestablish their viewership and credibility. But that's not happening. They're still following these orders. I don't know if it's because they know something we don't, or if they're just in denial.
A little bit of both.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff department. And it was because of...
So listen to what he
they
said
actually,
this year.
I should also say, when I flew here on Sunday, they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff department. And it was because of a bunch of politics that they were claiming was the Speaker of the House of North Carolina that was preventing us from even going in and trying to kick us out, which I have clarified today with North Carolina politicians that reached out to me, good on them, and they were like, that's complete bullshit. Speaker of the House has nothing. He wants you guys there. But this is the kind of political BS that is happening here right now. Like, everyone's trying to be in charge without taking any type of action. Nobody wants to coordinate with anybody. Everybody wants to pretend like they're being the hero while these people are literally fucking dying in the mountains.
Jeez,
and these
man.
people, like I'm saying, these people are limited medication. They're running out of oxygen, and there's no one going to get them. The most effective way I have found to go find these people is by getting in a helicopter and flying down the rivers and roads and looking for SOS messages or people waving us down. And then we drop down and get them. We have all these people here. We have law enforcement. We have...
Isn't it wild? The story he just shared about saving that little baby and that old woman, and then the government just wants to take credit for it. They're not there. They're sending hundreds of millions of dollars across.
So when I was looking at videos and stuff, I actually found a guy who was doing a live in his helicopter. And he live flew over across like South Carolina and stuff to destruction. It was insane. And him and his partner were looking for a house way out in the middle of nowhere. And you could just see the trees and the destruction of everything. But he was like 30 minutes before they finally found this stranded people.
Mm-hmm.
And he had to land in their backyard on a hill. It was crazy. But, and he was just a local YouTuber. He flies around in his helicopter. And he was trying to find him.
Yeah, I wonder if this is why our founders were always opposed to the government helping people in general. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.